I'm going to do today is I'm going to take and put very simple instructions as to how to install these wings. Start off with, what I like doing is starting off with the bottom one. First of all, you need to clean the fork tube. Just take a rag and a little bit of Windex or some cleaning solution and clean that fork tube as good as possible. Don't want any bugs up on it while you put it in it. Take the nut, the locking nut off, pull them apart, slide that back. The main thing is use extreme caution. Cover the corners of your clamp here so as not to scratch this. Reach around and just kind of pull it out, make sure it doesn't touch. Alright, and what you want to do is have this bolt come out to the side like so. Alright, and start your nut. First thing that goes on is the locking nut that comes with these clamps. And what I like to do is put the clamp, you'll see with this little ridge right in here real close, just kind of set that right on there as a guide. And I like using the ratcheting wrench. Just makes things a whole lot quicker and easier. And all you want to do to start with is kind of hold this so it doesn't move around while you're tightening it up a little bit. Careful in here is not to over tighten it. You just want it just barely snug enough to hold itself in place. Alright? Now, the bottom ones are 250, is the number 250 SL. The reason being is that bottom of that fork tube is, as you notice, if you look at the victories, are flared out a little bit. They're a few millimeters bigger than the top. Same thing with the top. What I'm going to do, make sure they're good and clean, make sure that's clean, and then I'm just going to cover the edges of this as I go around that, make sure I don't touch that with the edges. Pull it back in, push this T-bolt back around, and in. Very simple, very easy. Again, try not to slide around on the fork tube too much. You want to scratch the clear coat on that aluminum. And same thing with that one, just get it good and snug. Now, as you can see on some of these fork tubes here, I've run a set for almost a year, and I know some of y'all may be thinking why not putting something underneath them against metal. When you put most of your clamps on your traditional crash bars, there's nothing under those, and there's no issues. This one's the same way. Once you tighten it up, it's not going to move. These have had a set on for over a year, and well over a year, and I'm just now getting around to where I'm selling some of these, so I'm actually starting to put a video together to show you. Alright, once you get that on, to measure your height, leave this one right where it's at, put this one little here, and see there, I got to come up just a touch to make the holes line up. Okay, boom. Now what I can do is I want to look from the side and make sure that it's lined up properly, or as close as possible, and maybe tighten it up just a touch more. Now what I can do is go back and see these move just a little bit, not much. What I want to do now is just look from the side to make sure that it's not tilted top at the bottom or tilted at the end at the bottom, that they're kind of even, and get it pretty much where it looks good from here. And from this point, what we do is locate the two larger washers. Two larger washers go underneath. That is so as to distribute the weight or stress on this plexiglass. Alright. Now, you'll notice there's not room for the other washer just yet. Just put these on top and just kind of not very tight at all. Just enough to put on there with your fingers, and just a couple rounds to hold it in place. Then what you want to do is leave it there. We'll start on the other side, and then I'll show you from a picture from the back side as how to straighten them up and align them to where you like them. Alright, we're going to start off from doing the other side the same way. Make sure there's clean up underneath them. These are clean. Again, 250 on the bottom. Make sure that we kind of hold and protect the edges as we come around so it doesn't slide across it. And slide the bolt in and start the nut. You notice these first nuts are nylon washer nuts, lock-in nuts. So once we get these things into place and get them locked down, there won't be any movement. They don't slide around, and they won't back off. So again, we'll get right on this ledge. You see where the other one is on the other side. You kind of want to try to get it in the same position. They'll both be equal. Kind of eagle around the front, and now we'll go to the top one. Ease that up just a little bit and check my measurements again there. Oh man, I don't believe I could do that again. Went right on the first time without any extra movement. Alright, again, you want to make sure that the top is not pushed in or the bottom's pushed out. You want them kind of flush. Another way you can do is look at the back of the nut when you lay it on there. If it's laying good and flush, that's a pretty good sign that they're both pretty equal. Alright, and there again, you'll find the large washers and put them on there. Put that back in place. And it looks like on this top one I may have to run another thread or two on. From the back side, just tighten a couple turns. It'll give you enough threads to put the top anchor nut on. Don't worry about the washer under it just yet. We'll get them on there in a minute. Line that up. And now we've got it good, just enough snug, and there's still enough movement here. We can move these around and twist when we want to. When we start moving these and adjust them, do not pull on this plexiglass and try to crank it around to get it where you want it. Kind of push on the back of the clamp, and it's right here, and you can kind of move them around a little bit. Just pull on this back side. It's easy if you pull on the clamp and open the clamp up and move it. Don't push on here, it tightens it up. If you kind of just pull in here on the inside of the clamp, you can kind of move it around wherever you want to. Alright. Alright, what I like to do is just look down from this side, sitting in the seat, and look over the fork tube. From the forks from looking down, very triple trees on both sides. And look to make sure that both wings are angled, pretty much are slanted back at the same angle. And one thing that you can do for that is right here, make sure that this distance, run your finger in there or whatever right here, and make sure that distance is the same on both sides. Alright? Alright, now that we've got these where we want them angled at the right distance, what we need to do is go in behind leave these on there and just start going a couple of turns, tightening these clamps here, and get them good, good and snug to where they're not going to be moving. What you're going to see is this is going to eventually loosen up right here. Just kind of keep tightening them up. Put a few turns on them. It's off where you can see what I'm doing. You want to get that good and tight to where it's not other washer on there, we're going to just keep tightening it up a little bit at a time so it's not turning. The key here is not to over tighten these clamps. Don't think you're going to be able to tighten them tight enough to hurt the fork tube itself. You don't want them moving. Just kind of just go back in behind here and tighten them on up there to where you get them where you want them. Same thing with the top one up here. Come up there, turn a few turns on it. Get it snug down a little bit. And keep turning this acre nut as you go to see where you want it. Make sure it stays good and tight. Or you can take it off like it did on the bottom one so you can see what you're doing either way. Alright. The reason I said not worry about the other washer at this point, because this is where you're going to put it on there. Just back right off of here real easy. Ever so easy. And we'll put that washer on there. Get the big washer back on top up here. Shiny side out. And now when you put the small washers on, get it where you want it. Take your acre nuts and run them down where it should be. Just need a couple more turns. There again, everything's good and snug. There again on this one, don't tighten it. A little bit snug. You get to this point and everything's lined up like you like it, and you get everything hooked up on both sides. You look at it from the top and everything's adjusted right. What I highly recommend here is to take this acre nut, back it off one at a time, get you some Loctite, the blue thread lock Loctite, put you a little drop, just a little drop, either in the nut or on the threads, and then tighten that back up, because we're not using a lock washer underneath these. I tried lock washers, they didn't look as good. So I found out that like I said, I've run these for at least a year or better. I don't remember exactly when I put them on, but they've been a good part of a year, since Bike Week of last year to this year. And they haven't come off, and they haven't lost one, haven't had any loosen up or any problems or issues. So there again, just put you a little drop of Loctite in there, tighten them up. Again, don't over tighten them. Just a little bit of a snug is all you want. Okay.